So what is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Godfall video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the brand new expansion from Godfall called Fire and Darkness. Now, in addition to this expansion, there is some free content being given to Godfall players as well in the Lightbringer update, and we're going to touch on that as well as a ton of other changes to Godfall. So guys, sit back, enjoy. If you do enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise, let's get straight into this video. So first of all, let's talk about the new expansion, Fire and Darkness. So we have 4 new story missions, 5 new hunts, 1 new Explore the Realm mission, 12 new enemies, and 5 new bosses. Now, whilst the story in the main game was not very long, I think it was about 10 or 12 hours, expect the same here. Just the 4 new story missions, and whilst the story might not be anything to write home about, I did enjoy the new scenery, the new bosses to take on, and some of the new mechanics. I didn't necessarily enjoy the flying spear enemies. These guys were really annoying. Sometimes they wouldn't attack me, and I couldn't always get them down with a shield throw or with an ability. However, the other enemies were very interesting and fitted into the theme very well. The story itself has you traveling around this new fire realm, clearing out the enemies. Whilst I won't go into the boss's mechanics on stream, I did not necessarily find this quite difficult. I used the same bulwark build that I did in the game when it first came out and had no problems at all completely dispatching this boss first time. Then it's on to the hunt missions, which in isolation are pretty fun, and of course there is some new Tower of Trials changes and Dreamstones for the Fire Realm as well in the end game. Expansion players will be able to access Fire Realm content in the end game, which will include new Fire Realm Dreamstones. Fire Realm enemies and bosses can spawn in the Ascended Tower of Trials. Lightbringer can be played in the Fire Realm. There are 30 new in-game earnable cosmetics exclusive to the expansion players, and a powerful new amulet and charm with double primary trait. So if you're willing to part with what looks around about $15 for additional content, you are going to get a bit of value for your worth. I did enjoy the story missions, and the new scenery, as it is Godfall, looks stunning. If you are quite on the fence with whether or not you're going to part with any money on this game any further, then the Lightbringer update is something that you definitely should try, as it was the highlight of me going back and jumping back into Godfall. Now, if you haven't bought the DLC, you won't really get the why as to why the darkness has returned or darkness has appeared. However, the actual game mode of Lightbringer is exceptionally fun. What you're going to do is you're going to be dropping down into the world and clearing darkness. Now, as you are going around, you're going to be taking darkness all the time, meaning that you are going to have to find these totems to clear the darkness, which feels a lot like the Crota raid in Destiny 1, where you had to walk towards the totems to cleanse yourself on your way to the bridge. Do this for long enough and collect the crystals, and eventually you will get a final boss. Defeat this final boss and then you will get a ton of loot. One of the really good things about the Lightbringer update is that it introduces a new rarity of loot, and that is cursed items. Now, cursed items are special items that are powerful new weapons and equipment that can only drop in Lightbringer. Cursed items have 1 or more curses on them, which reduce the strength of the item and replace the secondary traits with negative traits. But never fear, cleansing those curses from the cursed items will allow you to extract the curse as a resource. Those curses can then be used in Lightbringer to boost the amount of loot that you get on your next run. And that's not all. Once all of these curses have been cleansed, the cursed item becomes awakened and will become some of the most powerful items obtained in Godfall. What I really like about this is that the cleansing of the cursed items invites you to go back into some other content. I had items that told me I needed to go and kill 50 enemies in the Dreamstones or 50 bosses in the Dreamstones. So once you find that cursed item that you know has the right traits that you want, equip it, jump into the Dreamstones, and then cleanse it. Once you have cleansed it, you will have the perfectly rolled piece of gear at the most powerful rank that you can get within Godfall. The Lightbringer update and the introduction of the cursed items is something that I think if you already love Godfall and you just loved playing it and you wanted a reason to go out there and farm some more and just play some of this awesome combat system, the cursed items is the perfect thing for you. In addition to all of the new content that's free and the content that's paid for, they have also made a ton of changes. The ailment effects have actually been removed from the valor plates, which I'm not 100% on, because now there's not much difference between them unless you're in Archon Fury. However, they have simplified the system. So for example, bleed increases the damage taken by a target and applies the damage over time. Poison, the target gains a long duration damage over time effect with a high total amount of damage overall. So they have simplified the system to something that makes more common sense. They've also allowed you to stack ailments on top of each other. So multiple hits and multiple applications of bleed, for example, will stack that damage up. And you're also going to be able to consume these ailments. Some items will now allow you to consume ailments from enemies. All ailment stacks are removed from the enemy, and the remaining damage from the ailments is dealt instantaneously to that enemy. There's also a ton of cosmetics added into Godfall. There was never any doubt Godfall was a beautiful game, and with the addition of 86 new valor plate cosmetics, you're going to be able to customize your guys as much as you want. In addition to all of this as well, there's a ton of balance changes to a lot of items, bug fixes, weapon related items. The build that I used at launch still absolutely crushes, despite the fact that 2 of the items that I used actually got a little bit of a nerf. I played through the entire story and some of the Lightbringer update without actually dying a single time. The build is still very, very strong. It's an old video on my YouTube. Feel free to dig it out. It'll still absolutely crush. Overall, for $15 or £15, I think you're going to get a lot more for your money than you think. Whilst you are only paying for the Fire and Darkness expansion, you are getting a ton of quality of life updates and that free update. If you don't want to take the plunge right now, I still would recommend to jump back into Godfall. The Lightbringer update is a ton of fun, and if you are the person like me that just likes to grind out aimlessly to get the perfectly rolled gear, then the cursed items and the Lightbringer update is definitely for you. Guys, let me know in the comment section below if you have tried this update yet, particularly the free update. I would love to know your thoughts on the system. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise I'll catch you on the flip.